I'm going to give you the straight up facts about the budget deficit. This isn't a left, right, or center issue. I'm Beverly Harzog, and I'm talking about the budget deficit and how it affects you and your what. Right now, the national debt is $36.2 trillion. That includes an accumulation of all the budget deficits in the past. The budget deficit right now is $1.1 trillion. When the US government spends more money than it brings in, there's a deficit. Would you believe there hasn't been a budget surplus since 2001? The national debt is now 124% of GDP. That's gross domestic product. This would be like in consumer speak. If you have a $100,000 salary, but you decide that you're going to spend $124,000 that year, if you don't make changes, you could end up in bankruptcy. It's the same with the US. They're spending more than they make. And if something isn't done to change this trajectory, it's going to be bad news for the economy and more bad news for your wallet. To pay for the deficit, the federal government borrows money by selling treasury bonds and other types of securities. Just in the last 7 months, interest expense has totaled $684 billion. Can you guess how much the government spends per day on interest payments? Take a guess. Don't Google. That's cheating. It's over $2.6 billion a day. Wow. That is unbelievable. The kicker in all this, a portion of your tax money and my tax money is being used to service the debt, to cover these expenses. But that isn't where the financial impact stops when it comes to you and your wallet. When the government has excessive spending, it creates inflation. You've already been experiencing this over the last several years. Your income, in some cases, just isn't keeping up anymore. And it's not your fault. It's how the economy works when there's excessive spending and a deficit. Mortgage rates go up, and that makes it hard to buy a home because the cost of living is higher. That makes it even harder to save money for a deposit so that you can get an affordable monthly payment. It could eventually lead to increased taxes. This is one way that the government tries to pay off the debt. I don't want that to happen to you. Honestly, that's part of the discussion that's going on in DC right now with the bill that they're working on. The meltdown in DC recently is over the budget bill. And one of the issues they're discussing is tax cuts. These are tax cuts that you've had for several years, but they're set to expire. Now, the argument by some is that, well, tax cuts will increase the deficit. But here's the thing. The economy doesn't operate in a bubble, okay? There are lots of things going on at once. Policies added and removed all the time. So one thing doesn't make an impact all by itself. If the tax cuts are associated with spending cuts or other new sources of revenue, things should be fine as long as the deficit starts coming down. But I don't want you to be hurt by increasing taxes. The Congress and the Senate need to get their act together, work on helping every one of you, as well as bringing down the deficit. They just need to do the right thing and work together. I want you to know that everyone on all sides of this issue, left, right, center, use the media to scare you with headlines. One thing you can do to protect yourself from having to go on an emotional roller coaster every time a horrible headline comes out is to learn more about the economy. That way, you'll know when you're seeing something that looks more like propaganda instead of being fact-based. It's also a good idea to take a look at how your U.S. congressperson and senators are voting. What are they voting on? If you disagree with their votes on issues, contact them. Let them know. If you have an opinion or a question about any of this, leave me a comment. And just so you know, I welcome all opinions. I really do, all viewpoints. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you next time.